Hey guys, this is Grandmaster Jerry Fasty Fontanes with another episode of MA Powertalk, Sport Karate, and the PK Legends over here at the Dojine, where you learn stuff that actually works. Today we have a gentleman, man, this guy is dangerous. Not too long ago, at the age 50 plus, he ended up knocking some guy out. I hope the guy didn't press any charges. No, he's not in jail, so I guess he did. This gentleman, whether it was point karate, teaching martial arts lessons, kickboxing, and or many years after his kickboxing career has shifted for him to become an educator, he still is dangerous and one of the people that I look up to. And he's not too much taller than me, but I still look up to him because he's a great person, but a phenomenal martial artist, and from what I hear, a no-joke instructor, master, and I apologize if I'm using the wrong title, and we'll find out. Master Michael Coles. Are you there, sir?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you for inviting me and having me on. And I must say that it's an honor talking and being with you, Master Fontanes.
Sir, wait a second. I'm your fan. Okay? I am your fan. Are you kidding me? But thank you. You're very welcome. Let me just give you the whole premise of what this thing is. If I went to war and I could pick 300 people to be on the Army of 300, like the movie, then, sir, you're one of them. You're on my 300.
Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you, and this is what it's all about. But this is not about me. This is about us. That means you, us. What was your motivation, inspiration, or desperation to start in the martial arts way back in the beginning? Now, if you don't hear me, it's because I put myself on mute because this is about your history so people know what the real deal is. So take it away.
Well, in the early 60s, there was a TV show starring Bruce Lee, and I used to watch it all the time. And I just got so infatuated with it that I started martial arts. And I started with Grandmaster June Ree. And at the time, we couldn't really afford it, my family. And so my mother gave me the permission. She signed the permission slip for me to do it. I was 16 at the time, and she said, well, if you can pay for it, you can do it. I'll sign it, and, good luck. And so I sold papers, I washed cars, I ran errands, I did whatever I could because I wanted to do this. And as I said, by watching Bruce Lee perform and the things that he did, just motivated me to do what I am doing now, and it's been a wonderful journey, not just in competing, but also and most of all in teaching and trying to help others improve their lives. And that's pretty much.
Let me just interject for 1 second because there's so much value in what you just mentioned there. I want to make sure that everybody here, including you and I, gets more than satisfied to tapping into a brain of a genius and professional, which is you. Okay? This is my job. My job is to expose to people the truth, the history. By you training with Mastery, just so you know, Grandmaster Ree, and again, I apologize, guys. Sometimes I use the word master, grandmaster, I use Hanchi. It doesn't matter. These are human beings that deserve respect, so I don't care what it is that they want to be addressed as, but I will ask you like I asked everybody else. Sir, how do you prefer to be addressed? Is it master?
You can just call me Mike. Just call me Mike, really.
Okay.
People call me Master Coles, or some people even call me Grandmaster and all like that. I only accept it in the school because I feel, it's protocol, it's necessary to a certain degree. But, outside, when I walk out the door, I'm just Michael Coles.
Right. But this is my question. Inside the school, you prefer to be known as?
A Master Coles.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you, sir, this is still martial arts, so Master Mike Coles, I'll tell you that. Because there's no way in life I will ever intentionally, and I do respect you, I would not disrespect you, even though we are talking out of the martial arts so-called school. This is about one of the pioneers and legends in martial arts, so that's where you get your props. You don't get props because of anything except for what you've done. Okay. And I think that's one of the things I do not agree in the martial arts world. People paying for what they consider, buffets, with horrible food, and they attach some plaque to it and they call it the Hall of Fame. No, I recognize people for things that they've actually done.
Thank you.
If that makes any sense.
Yes.
And this is part of it. This is for people to know. Listen, I've been blessed. I can go to a karate tournament today, even though I'm out of the loop for many years, and people can still know who I am and recognize me. However, it breaks my heart when they walk past a bunch of other people that I look up to, and they don't even know who they are. That makes no freaking sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm doing something about it. That's what this is about. Recognizing the pioneers and legends that we stand on their shoulders.
Right.
Not that they need it. We need it. The truth.
Yes. History.
You're welcome. I interviewed a gentleman by the name of John Longstreet. Whoa, John Longstreet. Those are the cousins of the people who trained in Washington, D.C. / Virginia area when it comes to the Jumri Institute, Taekwondo. But these guys, he was the first student. John Longstreet was the first student in 1973 to train with Gary Histolo and John Worley.
Exactly.
After they left. There you go.
When the Worleys went to Minnesota, he was John Longstreet was one of their first guys they promoted to black belt. And
this is what I'm talking about. He was the first student ever in the school.
Oh, yes. Right, exactly.
Is that something? No, imagine that.
You're correct.
No, but this is insane to me to think that information I only know because he told me, right?
Right.
And this is what I'm talking about. All of us are martial arts fans, right? We're fans. We're Bruce Lee fanatics.
Yeah.
And then we were also fortunate enough to participate in different levels.
Mm-hmm.
And then as an instructor, we get a chance to see our students do their stuff. And all those things are incredible. I'm a grandfather. I'm going to be a grandfather again in a few weeks, and that's incredible. I'm standing in the room, and there's three Jerry Fontenay's. I'm standing in the room with two other ones. Jerry Fontenay's, please stand up. I'm number one. That's number two, and that's number three. And I didn't name my son Junior. He's number two and number three. Okay. That means if I keep myself healthy, God willing, there may be a fourth one day that I can see.
All right.
So that's my goal, to see Jerry Fontenay as the fourth. So I got to stay around. Anyway, so now it's 19. So what you think maybe of 1966, 67? When did you start specifically?
I started January 1967, the latter part of 67. It was right around the fall, October, November of 67. And
your mother was smart enough, because that's really what it comes down to. You really want me? I'll sign for it, but you do it. Yeah. And you did whatever it took. Like beg, borrow, steal, get this. No, maybe not steal part, steal time from somewhere else. Because instead of playing with your friends, maybe. Let's talk about that for a second. You're 16 years old. You want to do this crazy thing called freaking karate, kung fu, but they calling it taekwondo, maybe Korean karate as I saw it when they first tried to promote it to me. And I became a student of Sang-Soo Tiger Kim. How was that? You wanted to do martial arts. What were you doing before that? And give me a little bit of the mindset once you started training and some of the challenges that you might have had.
All right. Well, at that time I was playing basketball for my high school, junior high school, and it was my last year in junior high, and I played basketball, and I was doing quite well. As a matter of fact, I had ideas of playing one day in the NBA, and martial arts came along, and I saw, as I said, the Green Hornet with Bruce Lee, and, I thought about one hand there's basketball, on the other hand there's, martial arts. And he said, well, you could have done both, but the only thing was basketball practice was after school, and it was pretty much around the same time that I would be going to martial arts practice. And so I was doing both for a while, and then when I competed in Master Reef tournament, I had this tournament called the Nationals a long time ago, and it was one of the top tournaments in the country, in the world really. And he had Bruce Lee come as special guest. The winner a lot of times was Joe Louis, Chuck Norris, the legends that this martial arts pretty much built on. And anyway, I competed as a gold belt, and I won first place. It was like, at that time, it was new and people were doing a lot of competition, and I mean, it was last time I remember having 8 fights in one tournament. And anyway, I had 8-point fights, and I won. And Master E was very proud of me. He introduced me to Bruce Lee. And I even have a picture now of Bruce Lee and I on the wall in my school. And that right there just sealed the deal, because I felt, you know, after meeting Bruce Lee and winning this tournament, basketball was not as important. So, you know, I never had any second thoughts or, you know, doubts about my decision that I made. And that's pretty much, you know, the history of it. I decided I was going to stick with the martial arts. And as I said, you know, you can't compete forever, but, you know, being an instructor, you can, like you said, with your Jerry Fontenay's 1, 2, 3, 4, you just keep passing it on down the line. And so, you know, that's basically what I'm trying to do here, you know, through my teaching. I help others.
Oh, my God. Again, let me interject again, because what you're doing, sir, and I'm sorry if I sound a little out of line, you so nonchalantly said how you met freaking Bruce Lee, right? A guy you watched on television, and then you're there with Chuck Norris and Joe Louis and the first generation. I'm sure, you know, I mean, the person who took, by the way, I can tell you this, if it was 1967, the person who took third place in the division was actually Greg Tierney in the heavyweight black belt division. Okay,
that's another legend.
Yeah, well, when you listen to his power talk, oh my gosh, incredible! He started in '64. I'm gonna leave it at that. But in '67, he was at the Junior Nationals. He took third place. He lost to a guy who he doesn't even remember. Lewis won the division. And again, absolutely legend and a gentleman. And these are the people that I completely love and respect, because we're all family members. These are my elders. Guys, those of you listening, please understand, I would not put anyone on these calls who are phonies. I would not do that. I don't care one thing they can say about me. People that like me or not like me, but they know one thing. I'm not afraid of anybody, because I'm not going to lie. The truth is, Michael Cole, the real deal, always has been. He goes to a tournament. He sees Bruce. He wins his division. I'm sure. Let me take a deep breath here, because I'm getting excited. You had a chance to meet Bruce Lee. Master Lee taught Bruce Lee. It wasn't that you met Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was hanging out with your guy. Am I wrong?
No, you're correct. They were close. They were best of friends.
So now, when Master Lee goes over to Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, this dude from the West Coast, what is he doing? Tagging along.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Bruce Lee, and it has been written throughout history, but that to me is incredible. Well, my instructor introduced me to Bruce Lee, and then when my instructor was traveling the world, you know, teaching other people the art of Taekwondo, he went to the Dominican Republic, and, you know, Bruce Lee actually did a live TV show there, interview, and you know how huge that is? But Michael Cole is the humble person that he is. It sounds like a lie, first of all. Right?
No, it's incredible. It's incredible. I feel very fortunate for the life that I've lived so far.
Oh, my God. Yeah, right. That's another thing. Just being alive is something that was probably fascinating. Tell me the environment. Were you living in D.C. or was it Virginia? Give me a little idea of the environment that you were living in.
I was living in a pretty rough environment. I lived in an area called Southeast D.C., and everyone who knows Southeast D.C. was pretty rough back then. Even to today, you know, it's pretty rough. We lived in pretty much, we lived right across from some projects. We were pretty much, you know, when you go outside, you know, even though I would say it was rough, at least we respected each other. You got into a fist fight, that was it. It was nobody pulling out guns and shooting and stuff like they are nowadays. You know, still you have to watch your back. You have to you have to walk with confidence. It's like when you're walking through the jungle, you got to carry yourself like a lion. And you know, I never was like that. I just pretty much was kind of shy and had my little bag. I walked down to the bus stop, got on the bus, took my karate practice, and in other words,
you minded your business and kept it moving, right?
Yeah, that's right. And people respected that, and another thing too is that be a good person. Treat people with respect, and they'll do the same to you. And I never really bothered anyone. And Master Reese always have a saying. He'd say, "Nobody bothers me," and it was a commercial on TV that many years. And his little daughter said, "Nobody bothers me."
How about I tell you this? You may or may not know this, but one of the people who became a student, many people that you trained, at age 7, he got jumped by a bunch of kids the first day he went to go play, and they cracked his head and almost killed him.
Wow.
Then at age 10, he joined your school. And then recently, this guy won the Battle of Atlanta, the Diamond Nationals, the U.S. Open, every time formula just about between teenage and early 20s, mostly in forms, even though he competed in everything. And a few weeks ago, you actually saw his little brother, and you saw, come on, your attention, Michael Dietrich.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Michael Dietrich. Yeah, he's one of Master Reed's black belts, and he has a little brother. The two of them, they popped onto the scene in the late 80s, early 90s, there, whatever.
You're right. Late 80s, early 90s, exactly right.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. Michael Dietrich at age 7 is working in Alexandria, of all places. His father's got a job at the Pentagon, and he was a colonel. In the meantime, the kid got beat up with bats.
Yeah.
At age 7. We're not talking about the Bronx. We're not talking about your area in Washington or even Spanish Harlem or Compton. Things can happen anywhere, but that blew me away because I had no idea.
Yeah.
That for 3 years he was a recluse because of it.
Mm-hmm. I guess
in the meantime,
that would make you a recluse.
Yeah. In the meantime, once he joined the school, he was all in, and his little brother too, like you said. And these are the people who look up to you because they obviously are descendants of the junior operation. Okay, all right, let's talk about this for a second. Let's just say that Master Reed never came to Korea. I mean, he came from Korea to Texas and then D.C. What would have happened?
That's really something to think about. I never, to be honest with you, I never even thought of that. But I guess, I know this, he changed my life. A decision that one person make can, you never know how far that action that he takes will spread, not just to another person, but to, like a whole community, a whole country, the world.
And that's the ripple effect.
And when he came here and started his schools in D.C., and then he also, because I did it with him for a while, but he taught congressional members. He taught congressmen, senators, and he asked me, because at the time I was one of his high-ranking black belts, along with Jeff Smith, and we went down to Congress and taught down there, with him. And actually, I did most of the teaching. After a while, it got to a point where, I was...
Hold on a second. So you mean to tell me that you, right, so there's this karate guy, right, there's a school down the block, and there's some guy that actually has a black belt. There's another guy who has a black belt. There's another guy who has a black belt. There's a guy that actually not only met Bruce Lee, not only watched Bruce Lee, met Bruce Lee, not only met the person who taught Bruce Lee Taekwondo, actually became a student. Not only that, but he actually taught for him, and then he actually taught multiple world champions, and then he also taught people that members of the Congress that ended up being even higher rankings, whatever the heck it was years after. It sounds like a lie again.
No, it's not. Master Reed has been teaching on Capitol Hill.
Yep, exactly.
Since the early 70s, and then he, as I became
Democratic Party versus the Republican Party.
Exactly. It was on the front page. Of the Parade magazine.
Baby.
We had the Democrats fighting the Republicans, and it was really something. And it was held at the convent. What is it? D.C. Armory, which was across from RFK Stadium. Which just put a little blurb in that this Sunday, my students and I will be doing a halftime show at RFK Stadium in front of thousands of people. We did it last year in front of thousands of people and on TV. They put 30 seconds on on the halftime show, and we're going to be doing it again this year. We're going to be doing a musical form and a little self-defense demonstration for the halftime show at the RFK Stadium. And it's just funny how we used to do demos there with Grandmaster Ree, and funny how everything comes back around because, now my students and I are doing the same thing. We're doing a demonstration at the halftime show of DC United versus the Chicago Fire, and that's this Sunday around 2 o'clock. And
incredible, and it sounds like another lie. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is fascinating stuff to me because when it's all said and done, our lives have changed because of people making decisions to leave their so-called birthplace and become a new person, which is called an American. And for those of you who are listening, America is not a country. It's a mindset for the entire world. It doesn't matter where you come from. There is not anyone that I know personally that's more of an American than Grandmaster June Ree.
That's a great way of putting it. You're right. Exactly. Everything you just said. That's really, really
keeping it real.
A statement. It's a great statement.
It's just a fact. And it's fascinating because it depends on what era people know about the operation. There will be no NASCAR without June Ree. There'll be no safety equipment without June Ree. There'll be no martial arts business principles or concepts of how to become a better person in life articulated in the same capacity as Bruce Lee. Tony Robbins got his backbone from June Ree. Again, this is not about June Ree, guys. It's about keeping the truth. And you're a descendant of who has continued in the spirit of Grandmaster June Ree. Because Michael Coles, you have an attitude. It's a positive attitude. It's an incredible attitude. I know you don't need to hear this from me, but I got to just say the truth. A few years ago, I hear that you competed and someone might have been out of line or something like that. I don't know if that's the case, but regardless, you competed in the tournament, and then before you know it, the person was on the floor sleeping.
Yeah, well, I was just a little fortunate that night, so I was
okay. You can say that if you want. I say you're a sniper, and they make you squeeze the trigger. So the end result was someone had to go down.
That's a good way of putting it. Never thought
it's not personal. It's just what I have to do in order to make sure that my tools are properly, greased and oiled and balanced and what have you. Oh, my God. Okay. Thank you. Now, let me just ask you. Let's mention a few of the people that you had a chance to. Wouldn't it be great if you would have had a chance to meet a guy named Muhammad Ali?
I did.
Well, get another lie. Okay, let's hear that lie. Come on, baby.
Let me tell you this one, though, okay? I got a picture of him right here on my wall, I swear, in my school. Master June Ree was a friend of Muhammad Ali. He invited him to the school. He came to our Falls Church location, which was where we fought. We had it was a huge facility. We had our Friday night fights there. It was a ring in the middle of the school. That's why I defended my U.S. welterweight title many times. Master Ree invited Muhammad Ali there. He came. All of our students came, and it was a big publicity thing. And I got into the ring with him, and we did some little shadow boxing, moving around and stuff. And so, anyway, but Muhammad Ali went with Master June Ree to Korea. Master Ree talked him into coming to Korea because he wanted to show off his friend Muhammad Ali and everything, and it was a great publicity thing. And and Bruce Lee went to Korea with Grandmaster Ree, spent maybe I guess a week or so there, and but anyway, they were very good friends, and I had a privilege and honor of meeting Muhammad Ali. And the way you see him is the way he is. I mean, the guy he was phenomenal, and he is phenomenal. And back then, I just thought he was one of the, he is the greatest, and it was really something meeting him. And that was one thing about being around Grandmaster Ree, is that I met a lot of important people, legends, and I think if I had taken martial arts someplace else, there's no way this would have happened. No way. And that one thing about Master Ree was that he did believe, and that's what a lot of people didn't like about him, because we had other karate schools in the area that, shunned our way of doing business, although we produced champions, world champions, and, It was nothing they could say was phony about us. But they didn't like the way he marketed himself. Back in the day, he was the first person that did martial arts commercials on TV. And, the Nobody Bothers Me commercial, nobody liked that about, the Junior Institute. We go to studios. I mean, we go to tournaments. We have to literally take our gi top off, turn it inside out and fight, because if they saw our patch or our logo on the back or something like that, most judges would vote against us when we're fighting. And we did that a lot of times because a lot of people didn't like Master Reed because he...
Wait, you mean to tell me that the play haters didn't just start the other day?
That's good.
Are you telling me that being professional was looked at being commercial, as in no quality?
Yeah. Well,
that means if I only have 10 students, that means my school must be better?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing.
Freaking idiot. I'm sorry to tell you, you're freaking idiot. I may love you, but you're an idiot. That's the reason why you don't have a pot to piss in the window to throw it out of. I love you, but you never got your stuff together. You're old enough. Move in your mother's house already, damn it.
Yeah.
Continue, sir.
That's the way of putting it, because, people, they felt, you got to be humble. You can't, exploit yourself. You can't do this. You can't market yourself, rather. You can't do this. You can't do that. And that's really stupid. I mean, it's like the more people you bring in, the more people you can help. Yeah, of course you're going to benefit financially, but at the same time, you're helping people out. And I never would have gone to Junior had I saw his commercials on TV. I mean, the whole thing was, I loved the Green Hornet. I saw him, perform Bruce Lee. I wanted to be just like him. And then all of a sudden, here comes a commercial. Hey, Nobody Bothers Me. I'm like, hey, okay, well, I'm going there. I mean, if it had been another karate school, I may have gone there if I'd seen it on TV. But
in 1960s.
Yeah, that's right, in the 60s. And the thing is that Master Reed had the foresight to market his school. And by doing that, look, you got Jeff Smith, you had the Worley Brothers, you had, Gary Carnahan. You can just go on forever. The list goes on forever. And
Rodney Batista.
Yeah.
Dan Magnus.
Yes, another one. Otis Hooper, Rodney Batiste. We had so many fighters. I mean, it's probably, hundreds that I can't even think of most of them.
No, but this is the funny part. And then Junior went from what would have looked like a fighting school to a form school, so they thought.
Mm-hmm.
John Chung, Charlie Lee, Michael Dietrich, Carmichael Simon, John Villela. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, think about that. I mean, really, you just brought up something that I hadn't even thought about, because my mind was on fighting, because that's the way I was. That was my whole thing, fighting. But, hey, John Chung, I mean, the greatest form guy you could really think of, and his sister Helen Chung, Charlie Lee. I mean, we had some of the best in both fighting and forms. And you're right. I mean, that's just that generation. And then all of a sudden, here you got a John Zalera continuing as like the next Charlie Lee, and then a kid from New Operation turns around in 1 second doing a Taekwondo form or karate form. The next second he puts up a Kung Fu top, and Carmichael Simon, the person who really combined what would have been, yes, George Chung did those things slightly before that, but not in the same form. Yes, Sugar Clausen was what George Chung got motivated by, but Carmichael Simon was beating everybody. And you just named another name that, to me, that guy was great, Carmichael Simon. And he looked up to Charlie Lee, I think, and John Chung. But see, that's what I'm saying, that your performance is going to help other people help themselves. It's going to influence other people to do good things in life. And Carmichael Simon wouldn't be who he is today had it not been for John Chung, and John Chung wouldn't be who he is today hadn't been for Grandmaster Ree. And I mean, it all goes back to Grandmaster Ree.
How about I tell you that next week some chick named Helen Chung, who's on her way right now, expecting to, I think, San Francisco or something like that, is going to have a conversation with us where we're going to be recording. And this guy had to reschedule it because he's a little busy right now. He's an Esquire. So November 2nd is going to be his interview, and that's Charlie Lee.
Oh, wow. That's great. Well,
we ain't playing here. What do you think we playing?
Yeah, no, man, you guys, if you got all these people on here, and you guys are the legend of the talk show, because, I mean, you have nothing but legends on, and I must say, it's an
This
honor.
is needed. I need 100 other people to do what the heck I'm doing, because there's not enough people to report the freaking stories and the history that's needed. Enough of this nonsense already. I'm at the Battle of Atlanta, sir, this year. Wow. And not one, but two people, two of what would be modern-day media groups came on and interviewed me, right? Spoke martial arts, and one of Richard Patton's nephew for the second time interviewed me some other things. And I felt so heartbroken because they walked past at least 15 people that should have been interviewed way before me, man.
Wow.
So they don't know who those people are.
Yeah, but that just shows, right, their lack of knowledge of, of the art. These are people that, have been given a job to do, but they haven't really researched and found, who they really should.
Just to be fair, we all have to be June Lee and Grandmaster Alan Banks and Ed Parker, rest in peace, okay? These people were the pioneers, and what they discovered, there's a common denominator between the three of them, and Bruce Lee was part of it, Chuck Norris also, right? Notice this. Listen to this. Imagine a room with Robert Trias, June Lee,
right,
in New York. It was like, for lack of a better description, like mob bosses meeting together, right? Now, when Grandmaster Lee goes over to Japan, when Antonio Inoki is doing that deal with how you call it, Muhammad Ali,
yeah, exactly.
Not only does Master Lee go, but he takes my instructor, Sang Soo Tiger Kim. He took Sang Soo Tiger Kim with him.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my instructor. And in 1976, yes, okay, we don't have to talk about Seung Myung, but yes, I was there too in 76 when we took the bus from New York.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just a fan. I'm a martial arts. I will challenge anybody in the world to see if they're a bigger fan than me. That's all I am. I'm a martial arts fan that was fortunate enough to do some stuff also, and I'm going to continue doing some stuff because my body can still do it. But I'm a fan. I'm a historian, and I want to know. Now, if you take away Master Reed, then you wouldn't even have ESC, who was the forefathers, rest in peace, of Nick Kokinos, who were the in-house billing company, that must be included, for Master Reed. Let's talk about that for a second.
You really have your homework done. You're right. Nick Kokinos was a pioneer in the business of the martial arts, because a lot of people, there are a lot of schools that are like in a little small room or a rec center or a back room, and this guy came out and said, hey, this is a valuable thing here we got, and we should make a business out of it and find some way in which we can bring it to the world, and he did it with, he helped Master Reed with the business aspect of it, and whatever Master Reed did, Nick Kokinos he had a big hand in it, and rest in peace, Nick Kokinos, but he was a great guy too.
Okay, we're about teaching things that actually work and keeping the history clean, and you know me. I don't care. I'm not scared of nobody. I'm telling the freaking truth. If you can't handle the truth, then get out my face.
Yeah.
Because there's pioneers and legends that we stand on their shoulders. Mm-hmm. And there's an injustice to me for people not to be recognized for what they have done. And these idiots are buying buffet with some old chicken, and they call them a whole new name. I don't even know who the hell they are. And they're happy, God bless them. But don't freaking come to me, I'm 9-time Hall of Fame. Get the heck out of here. These are called the Recognized Awards. Mm-hmm. I recognize people who've done stuff. And this is proof of it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on this conversation. Now, I could be 1,000% wrong. I'm a little crazy. However, I know how to read, and I keep it real. Michael Coles not only went from point karate and teaching and was exposed to not only Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali on television, I don't know how many times, but and then at age 50 plus, he's still knocking people out by mistake. You guys are the epitome. If I say Joe Corley, what do you think about?
Another pioneer, and at one time a great competitor too. I mean, Joe Corley.
This is what people don't get. 1967 ranked as one of the top 10 fighters. When you're joining the school.
The thing about Joe Corley was that he brought a different type of fight to the game. I mean, he was very flashy. He did stuff that, a lot of people...
Footwork, angles, reposition.
Exactly. And now look at him, the guy...
No, but wait, hold on a second. For those of you who don't know, my friend, real family member friend, Joe Corley, had his back fused together.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Before he fought against Bill Superfoot Wallace, who lives just one town away from where I'm at right now. So we're going to get him, but in the video one. Fast feet and super fight. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Anyhow, 1975, 6 months before, operation like that, and then fights against Wallace in kickboxing, at the time known as full contact. How crazy is that?
Yeah. And, he did good. He lost to Bill, but then a lot of people lost to Bill Wallace. I mean, it was... Yeah,
but he was the number one contender on the way up. They didn't just give him the fight, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, the guy, I had utmost respect for Joe Corley. Not only has he done it out there on the battlefield, but, he has, done so much as far as the schools. The Battle of Atlanta, one of the largest.
Yeah. What tournament was as big as the Battle of Atlanta in its heyday? I mean, I don't think there was any.
No, it's not. Even to the day, it's probably one of the largest tournaments that's.
And then, like you said, that whole operation. I think one of the interviews you may enjoy a little bit, perhaps, may be the one with Keith Vitale. Another.
Well, you just really pulling out some real.
Oh no, these are done already. These are done.
Okay.
Your interview today, within a half hour when we finish having this conversation, will be in Dojine.com on the list with all those people, but you also have your own page where it's Dojine.com/ just your last name, Coach.
Okay.
And so you can send anybody you want to, and I'll put your link to your website, whatever you want. We'll speak about what you want on it, but that becomes my way to make, all right, guys, I haven't announced this, but I'm going to announce it here for the first time. To me, it's almost like martial arts Wikipedia.
Okay, that's great.
So they can hear from the horse's mouth, man. The guys got enough information out there. If I can help to expose the truth, including a school directory and so on and so forth, why not?
Yeah. God bless you, brother. I mean, I'm going to tell you, you have, here's another thing that really I don't see anyone else has done before you. You're a pioneer in yourself doing this. And you are giving credit to those who pioneered this art, this sport, whatever you want to call it.
The truth.
And, God bless you for, coming out and giving credit to those people who deserve it.
Well, okay, thank you for that, but it's the other way around. I've been blessed to still be around to age almost 50. And what I am is a fan of people who are still alive. And I apologize for those, and rest in peace, who aren't here, who never had a chance to realize how important you were, how you made my life better. And I'm sorry for that. Grandmaster Simon Banks became a mentor of mine. He actually was my public relations guy. I hired him because I don't think there are too many people in the world that can do it like him either.
Right.
These people all respected themselves, all of them, right? Master Reed respected. They may not like each other at times because they believe differently. They may say that he was a P.T. Barnum of karate, having a man versus a woman, having the so-called what would have been MMA. These pioneers and legends need to be respected and given credit to, not by giving them some cold chicken and a plaque or a trophy or whatever the hell they give them, but by informing people of their legacy and the truth.
Exactly.
That's what I believe. But then again, guys, I don't know. People say I'm crazy. Maybe they're right. I don't know. But so Let me just ask you from a competitive standpoint, who was your most difficult competitor when you did point karate in the beginning days? I know you guys, it was hard. I think you went, like John Longstreet said, it was hard for him to do. It was easier for him to do kickboxing than it was to do point because everybody was training so much in kickboxing during that time, as known as full contact back then. So who, in terms of point, you're 1967, you go to a tournament, you win the division, and then you're going to start competing. Did you focus on points first and then kickboxing, or a combination of both?
No, well, the thing was, kickboxing, see, I came along in the 60s, and then, all of a sudden, the 70s were here, and this thing in 75 comes out called, because, see, Grandmaster reinvented this stuff called safety equipment. And, it was supposed to be used so that, people wouldn't get, hurt when they were sparring, because it all started back with Pat Worley. He got caught by this guy who I'm getting ready to mention, who I would say was my toughest opponent. Well, he fought Pat Worley years ago, and he threw this back reverse hook kick. This guy is phenomenal. I'll just tell you his name now. His name is Micheal Warren. And he threw this back reverse hook kick.
One of the greatest punches.
One of the greatest point fighters there ever was.
Maybe the best timing and distance of all fighters, possibly.
Yes.
I watched the video where he takes a rest in peace, and I keep it real. Howard the Flash Jackson was pretty much just running into everything. He didn't officially win because the judges were.
Yeah, he got ripped off on that thing.
But I'm like, holy crap!
No, let me tell you. Well, first of all, let me just say.
I just got of Atlanta.
Yeah, he and I went to school together. He and I were in junior high school together. And he was another one, that kind of helped me, make the decision to do martial arts. And I really didn't think he was, into martial arts, even though he would share his, a little quietly. He was very quiet, very humble, very shy guy. And one day he told me he took martial arts, and I was like, yeah. And then at that time, he was already a black belt. So here I go. I get all infatuated with Bruce Lee. I go sign up. I start taking martial arts. I go to the tournament, the Nationals, which I told you I won and met Bruce Lee and all like that. But look who do I see standing over there competing in the junior division but Mike Warren. And he's a black belt. So I'm a gold belt. He's a black belt. Well, over the years, as time went along, we worked out here and there and stuff together. And we would,
No. You do not work out with the competition. He's from Key-Wank Kims.
Yes, but see, listen, but the thing about it, and they came from the 12th Street Y. Right, I'm downstairs working out on, in a luxurious dojo, and they're working out, in a Y facility. But the thing about it, though, was that I knew if I wanted to get better, I'd go and work out with him and another great competitor guy named Albert Cheeks. And
you mean his classmate?
His classmate. We all went to Spingarn High School together. Albert Cheeks, Michael Cole. Micheal Warren and I went to junior high together, Brown Junior High. Then when I got to high school, because where Michael lived, he went to a different high school. But all of a sudden, I see Albert Cheeks in my high school, So I was with these two guys all the time, and I would compete with. I would work out with them. But when we go to tournaments, I'd always end up fighting Mike, and that was probably my toughest competitor in point sparring.
Listen to this. To get Albert Cheeks is not going to be that difficult. The difficult one is to get Warren, because I know he doesn't like to talk, or even he disappears. He's a recluse, they say. So maybe he's hanging out with, I don't know.
Wait, sorry, who you say is a recluse?
Mike Warren.
Oh, yeah, yes, he is. He is. Like I
Albert Cheeks would be easy.
Yeah.
With or without the braids, Albert Cheeks. I get him.
Okay.
But Warren, that's a hard one. I have to figure out a way. By the way, just so you know, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, there's a gentleman that's going to be doing an interview with us via Michael Dietrich, who was with him a few months ago. And by the way, Michael Dietrich today is in England with Alfie Lewis and the rest of the presidents of the World Martial Arts Organization. I took a seat to become vice president because when I went down with Coley, Michael Dietrich now is the president of the World Martial Arts Organization. I'm the VP of it, and he's out there representing us while I'm doing this, and he's going to get Grandmaster E to be interviewed.
Yeah, I wanted to he asked me to go and even compete in the 60 above division. Probably I would have, but
whoa! Wait! Who are you talking about?
Over in England, where they
sorry, I apologize. I didn't even realize that. That's right. Of course, you guys will be communicating.
Yeah, but the only reason why I didn't go is because as I said, this Sunday, my team is going to be competing, or rather not competing.
Yeah, performing. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't the right time. How about this? Next year, not only can you go, but we could be side by side because I'm going to not just go, I'm going to compete too.
Right.
We
talk about legends, man. You're a legend yourself. I mean, you're a very humble guy. Well, not too humble, but you definitely you've done it all. You have done, I mean, so much, and you're doing even more by making it aware to people that are listening now, and giving credit to those that are due. The guys who our foundation stands on their shoulders, and you're doing a great thing. And you do a great thing when you fight too.
I appreciate it. I got to give them credit right now because I can't give them cash, so they give the credit for the time being. I know they rather have cash than credit, but that's okay. Let's talk about that. Oh, man, listen, I laugh because the fact of the matter is that there's a new era that's happening. Martial arts is the most important thing in my life, period. If it wasn't for martial arts, it wasn't that other guy being bullied and picked on. It was the opposite. I probably would have went to jail, being the other guy. But the point was in this that people do not treat it the way I believe it really is. There's nothing bigger than life.
Yes.
And martial arts is what, if you cut me, it's in the DNA. Mm-hmm. I was into music. I should say the culture. And by the way, that conversation that by accident you went on was one of the legendary dancers that's been touring for the last 19 years of the Rocksteady crew. And I'm helping her develop a breaking, or what most people call breakdancing tournament circuit and karate in schools. Wow. We have after-school dance, after-school. It's going full circle. We learned it from Arthur Murray Dance Studio via Nick Kukunas and Nick Muffley, etc. And now I'm teaching them how to do it. Imagine that. Yeah. So there'll be hip-hop dance schools all over the place. But to be honest with you, there's going to be something that I really, really love. I'm going to do a model for it. And what is it? It's called Fontenay's Martial Arts, the world-famous Fontenay's Martial Arts, and Fast Feed, the hip-hop dance school.
Wow.
In one location. So when they do the after school, it'll be one day dance, one day karate. One day dance, one day karate. Combined with some success conditioning, and then they'll get a chance to go compete in the real sport karate, which is the World Martial Arts Organization, as I call it, sniper fighting. All People who are sharp, precise, and on point.
All right.
So there's a movement of taking things to the next level because a lot of people, including John Worley, they don't know what happened to the sport. I know exactly what happened. But more importantly, we have a solution. What happened was this, right here. If you have people in the dark ages, they can't see the light.
Yeah.
Give them information. Let there be light. And I'm not being blasphemous, guys. I'm just giving you an example. Words enlighten people.
Yes.
We have to give the history and the her story.
I'm really impressed at your knowledge of this history and the names you come up with. You really done your homework because you're not my age. You're a lot younger, and for you to know all this is quite amazing.
I spoke to Howard Chung the other day, right? And I spoke to Jesse Thornton, right?
Right. And
do you know they both thought I was older than them? And I'm thinking, man, I thought I still looked pretty young.
Yeah.
It wasn't that.
I know you're a lot younger, and I think what caused them to feel you might be older is because of your knowledge that you have of the martial arts. And you've mentioned
that's what both of them said, and all I said to them was, thank you. My advantage was that I was no style, so I was all styles.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have my left leg in front, I could be this person. My right leg in front, I could be that person. My left hand, this person. My right hand, this person. Combining with a Puerto Rican from the Bronx and the hip-hop culture, then you have these results. I only asked one person in my entire life to give me an autograph. That was this guy, some dude named Bill Superfoot Wallace, September 1981. When I got home, I said, Mom, I need a nickname. She said, Fearless Sassy. Mom, there's too many F's. It's not going to fit in the back of my, my shirt. I'll be sassy, and I promise you, I'll always be fearless. Yeah. Even though I was scared to death half the time, but no one could tell. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
You got to fake it till you make it, baby. If you run, they chase.
That's right.
But what I'm saying is that all of these people are still around. The majority of them. You know what's going to be so sad? 10 years from now, a lot of them won't be.
Yeah.
So this is the last chance. Mm-hmm. Today I'm doing 4 power talks. There was a guy that just missed his, and I'm going to have to do it later on. Some dude named Rudy Smedley.
Wow. That's another good
one. Yeah. And then later on tonight, I'm doing some guy named Kevin Brewerton, who was probably the first freaking guy from England to do the blitz in that manner.
Okay.
But I also did someone like Felix Vasquez and Hassan Khalik.
Wow.
And Tommy May, and then I also have a few of them with Ray McCallum. Those are done already. So these are the people who are on the repertoire. I counted Jesse Thornton, who's already, like I said, he's already there, and Marty Knight. These are people that we've done so far. And I'm about 0.1%. Oh, and Michael D. Just one. I've done about 10, maybe 1% of what it's going to be.
Wow.
It's easier for me to do it than to explain it.
Well, you'll be pretty busy then, if you're only at 1%.
Yeah, I'm on 1% because what's going to happen is that I'm going to put together an army. Guys, I'm giving the truth out. You want to know why the heck I'm doing this? Because I'm sick and tired of people walking around who are pioneers and legends with their freaking head down. Put your chin up and your shoulders back. You are a pioneer and legend. I look up to you. If these idiots don't know who you are, that's their freaking problem. You're a black belt. You're a legend. Be proud of yourself. Doesn't matter. You're not no has-beens. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you need to be recognized.
Recognized. Thank you. Now this is called the Recognized Awards. I'm recognizing the 300 people that I would have went to war with.
Wow.
That's what this is about. It's not about me. It's about us. All of us. That's U.S. Us.
That's great.
That's what this is. But, all right, so now, this is crazy because when you talk about someone like a Mike Warren, he also had some classmates, and there was a teenager, white guy, that did pretty well, and I look up to him also because he was able to revolutionize the power industry, and atomics was born. And we're talking about Micheal Barbaro.
What? Who?
Micheal Barbaro.
Oh, Micheal Barbaro. Yeah, he was, listen, he was outstanding, great guy, and very smart, too, because he has his own business selling sportswear.
Atomics,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, I'll just say this about, Kiwan Kim had 2 studios. He had one, which was up on in a place called Silver Spring, Maryland, where I live. Kind of nice upper class, middle class neighborhood. And he had that school there, and he had one in the ghetto where was the Y. It was the YMCA where Michael Warren and all the brothers trained. And
Yep.
the people who had more money and stuff, they trained up at Kiwan Kim Studio in Silver Spring, Maryland. And Micheal Barbaro was, well-to-do, kid that trained there. And you can say, oh, this little rich kid, right? But the boy could fight. And,
and he was younger.
He was young, and, I was impressed at his abilities. And but, the thing is, he's the type of person that no matter what he does, he's going to come out, a winner. And just like he's a winner with this sports apparel,
no
he was
joke.
a winner when he fought. He was a winner when he did the martial arts. Great guy. And but as I said, he was with Mike Warren and Albert Cheeks and those guys who came up, right around the same time.
Mm-hmm. Incredible. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, what they say that the fruit doesn't fall from the tree, you know, it's far away from the tree.
That's right.
You know, it's kind of crazy. And just to be fair, probably the last person on that tree that is still around and was really, really young, he has the Kicks program, and now, you know, Mr. John, what is his last name? Oh, my God.
Who?
John, the Kicks program. He has all the schools. He has like 14, 15 schools right now.
Okay.
John, oh, man. He was one of the King Rank King students, one of the last ones that was there teaching for him. He has the Kicks program.
Yeah, I think it's kind of vague, but yeah, I know the Kicks karate schools, but I can't think of his name though.
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy, really good martial artist. I was consistent with you know, the Muda Kwan guys, and I see what they were doing.
I think you don't recognize. It's hard to remember his name because he wasn't much into competition.
No, but it was because it wasn't. He's around my age. Actually, I respect the guy so much because he just started going to Harvard back to school. He's opened up like 15 schools in the last like 3-4 years. I'm going. Wow. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Doesn't matter. Well, I'll get him on anyway. He's one of the guys that I do respect. But so what brought you? So now you're going to start kickboxing. 1974, 75, somewhere around there, or full contact.
75, 76, really, and I had my first full contact fight. I actually lost because I didn't have the right mindset. I was still thinking point, and you know, I was fighting somebody who was from another. There were 3 schools in this area. One was, you know, top one was June Reed. The second one was Kiwan Kim, and the third one was Lee's Karate, which would be named later Simba Dojine, which I know you heard of, and Furman Marshall and the Cunningfield Camp, Cunningham, those guys. And so I ended up fighting this guy, Reginald Moulton, who's a friend of mine, and I just didn't have the right mindset, and it was a first-time fight for our Black Belt Arena in Falls Church, where I told you earlier, you know, it's a real nice facility and everything. And,
super location.
Yeah, and I ended up losing a decision, and not anything against Reginald, but I felt I could have beat him, but I just didn't put forth the effort, and I just didn't have that killer instinct or attitude at the time. And because of the embarrassment of my losing in front of my students and all like that, I did
never again.
I said I'll never let this happen again, and I didn't. And from that point on, I just went on, and in '79, 3 years later, I ended up winning the title. But I ended up, I learned a lesson from that, and I realized that, you know, if you're gonna do something like this, you know, there's some people that, you know, like Mike Warren, as great as he was, he could have been even great. He could have been just as great, if not greater, in full contact. But he came to me and said, you know, he wasn't going to do it, you know, because he just didn't like it. You know, wasn't something he wanted to do. And, you know, I respected that. And he, you know, every night, it wasn't for everyone. You know, it was like the dark days of the martial arts when full contact came out. You know, it was like before, I mean, people would get knocked out. They even called it knockout karate, you know, and I never forget on the front page of Black Belt magazine, it was dark, and you see the bottom of someone's feet, you know, and they were pretty much laid out, and they were talking about, you know, full contact and knockout, and those were some tough times. But, you know, you managed to get through them. You know, you learn it gave you a sense of confidence to a certain degree because, you know, I felt that after doing that, I could pretty much do anything, which I'm not bragging or anything, but I did have the opportunity one day when I was training for fighting. This guy named Dave Jacobs came to me and said that he wanted to know if I was a southpaw, and he wanted to know if I would fight his boxer or do some rounds with him because he had a southpaw. He was getting ready to fight this guy named Adolfo Viruet, was getting ready to fight Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard he was maybe about 5 or 6 miles from where I lived, and we grew up in the same much But anyway, in 70.
Yeah, but you know, it would have been nice if you would have met him, or Mr. Reed would have met him. That would have been nice.
Oh no, Matt, I sparred with Sugar Ray Leonard. That's what I'm saying. Is that I got no joke. There's no joke. I sparred with Sugar Ray Leonard.
No. Sorry, listen. I know that. I'm messing with you, man.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, do your history, do your homework now.
I'm messing with you. Are you kidding me? Listen, Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, June Lee. I mean, that's what it was about, man. Bruce Lee also. That's what I'm trying to get at. From 1976, I watched Sugar Ray Leonard all the way to the Olympics until he is my favorite boxer of all time. I put him on the same level as Muhammad Ali only because of this. When Sugar Ray Leonard fought against Tommy Hearns, which is probably the best fight ever to me, because they switched characters. The hitman became the boxer became the hitman.
That's right. Exactly.
That was phenomenal to me. It was the most incredible thing. On top of that, when Hagler, whoa, that was incredible to me. And what he did to Duran, the second fight, was completely called frustration. It had nothing to do with anything, but he fought in his own style. He fought against Duran in Duran's style. Duran didn't knock him out the first fight. And when he fought against his brother-in-law, Wilfredo Benitez was never the same after that, but oh my God!
You're right. Well, see, he had a lot of people talk about fighting intelligence. That's what Sugar Ray had. And, I mean, he knew he'd find a way to beat you. And like you said, he switched styles. He was multidimensional. He would find a way to beat you. And
that's called committed to success, flexible in approach. Committed to success,
the first time,
flexible in approach.
He didn't have the right formula. But when he fought him the second time, though, he did.
Yeah, but he didn't get knocked out either.
Yeah, no, even when he lost.
He was supposed to be you fight against Duran, you stand in front of him, whether it's a human or a horse, and he's going to knock you out.
Yeah, and I can't believe because he stood in front of him that first fight.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I got all the respect for him. I said, wait a second. You mean Duran couldn't beat him when he's in front of him? Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. Let him fight. His fight is over. And that's why he didn't throw the fight. He was so frustrated and being a machismo, more powerful man. You know. And then he gets knocked out, meaning Duran, by Tommy Hearns. Holy crap. We never expected that.
I love that one.
Are you kidding me? We didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah.
That's why we are sad today, because the striking game, whether it's boxing or martial arts, it's just not the same. However, we still have some people that are doing things that we can appreciate in both of those areas, but they're minorities. And they're up and coming, hopefully, come about. When you see someone like Raymond Downey's fight, what would be, his glory, but it's still incredible knockouts. When you see someone like Steve Wonderboy Thompson, all these guys are straight up and down martial artists, period. In addition to that, if you see the England version of Raymond Downey, he was exactly to the T, which is Michael Venom Page, Curtis Page, who is his father, son, then we still have some decent representation out there.
Yeah.
Of real martial artists. There are very few but when you see someone slapping somebody to the shoulder and throwing themselves on the floor, it hurts for me to see the judges even have to give a point, the ones who know better, which are minorities. The rest don't even know that they're making a mistake there. That's a horror story. Sugar Ray Leonard, you're spoiling him.
Yes. And I'll say this. I've been, and through my days of fighting full contact, I've been kicked in the head, I've been punched in the head, but I've never been hit as hard as I've been hit when I fought Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, it was like I knew I had a concussion, and really at that point I wasn't really into what concussions were all about, but I just knew I was walking around in a fog, like a haze, for maybe about 3 or 4 days, and then I was getting to the point I was saying I need to go to the hospital. And the next day I woke up and my head was clear. I was okay. But I never been, even fighting, full contact, I never been hit like that. Was
so you're telling me that no disrespect intended to anybody, because I'm sure Mr. Smith knocked the crap out of you at least a few times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but nobody.
And I think you might have seen that kick. That kick might have hit you pretty hard. And the guy that was lighter using his arms.
Yeah.
Feeding with his power, baby, and you was probably moving in when you got hit.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the thing about it is when they say you don't see it coming, it hurts you more. And he's so fast that when he hits you, you don't see it. And I'm telling you, it's like bam, bam, bam. Next thing you know, I mean, I was able to go the first time I sparred with him. I was able to go 2 rounds. Then it got to the point, where then they asked me, could I come back? Can you come back? And so I came back the next day, and I went 3 rounds with him. And then the next week, that's when I started realizing, I was like, man, something's wrong with my head. But and then I got my head clear and stuff, and I went back. And no, he had to fight then. He already had his fight, and so I didn't spar him for a while after. But the thing was, it improved my fight game. And I mean, you think to yourself, man, I sparred against Sugar Ray Leonard. These guys can't touch me, So it gave me a really huge sense of confidence, and I thank him to this day for having that opportunity.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's the way I think of it. It was definitely incredible. I've been very
Again,
glad.
it sounds like a lie, Mr. Pose.
Yeah, well, it can be checked out.
That's the point. You are documented. Now, this is my question, and I don't know if you have this. I would assume that you do. But if I went and found out information about your school, is any of that information written in the About Us section?
What about my school? What about my school?
If I go to your website, is there information about what we just spoke about?
Website? Yes. You can go to colesmartialarts.com and read up on us. And
so you got all that information you told me should be on there. Most likely it is on there. But if it's not on there, then we're gonna have to get it on there as fast as possible, because that's what separates you. This is my point. If I'm driving, looking for my son or daughter to do martial arts, most of the time I'm gonna do it out of convenience. Mm-hmm. I get my nails done here and my whatever, and they try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Well, my daughter dances here, but when someone does investigating,
right,
and they pass by 2 or 3 more schools before they get to yours.
Yeah.
Because they investigated. That person's a better student.
Yeah.
And what I discovered, hopefully not in your case, that people who have credibility, their marketing sucks.
Yeah.
It's like they keep it a secret. Why are you keeping the secret?
Yeah. You're very right, because a lot of times people who have not really done anything are the ones that do most of the talking. And it's almost like a fight. Guys who can fight don't go around talking or bragging. They just do it. Yeah.
Unless you're descended from Gorgeous George, Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard to Jerry Fassi Fontenot. So that's that one character that he could talk crap, but he better back it up, damn it, if you're going to talk crap like that. Or Michael Jordan or Roy Jones, right? But most people, they let their hands and feet do the talking.
Yeah.
You would never think Joe Corley's a fighter. Or Tony Young, you don't even think he's alive. That guy was like, he's walking around, he died.
Yeah.
And then he would turn around and just kick your butt. I used to laugh, too. I'm saying, he looks like he's bored. I said, yeah, wait until he gets into character. Don't block with your face. It could hurt.
Yeah.
It's funny because you had Evander Holyfield over there in Atlanta practicing and training in boxing.
Yes, he did. I forgot all about that. That's right. And I'm going to tell you, okay, let me just mention one person that needs to be mentioned, and we have not, and that was Jerry Rome. I don't know if you remember Jerry Rome, but he was a great full-contact fighter under Joe Corley.
I'll give you the particulars with him and even his point skills that he did not too many years ago. He still came back and did that, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Give credit where it's due. One of the best matches we've seen in wartime with 1 punch. But keep going.
I actually boxed with, just like I boxed with Sugar Ray Leonard, he boxed with Evander Holyfield, because Holyfield's down in Atlanta. And Jerry came up here. Jerry Rome came up for maybe about 6 months or so, or close to a year, to the Junior Institute, because Joe Corley said, send him up, because Joe Corley wanted him to come up so he could be a sparring partner with Jeff Smith, because even though I was a sparring partner for Jeff, I was in a different weight class. We had other guys Rodney Batiste. The only two people that could spar Jeff Smith was Rodney Batiste and myself. And Batiste was a middleweight. I was a lightweight. But they wanted somebody a little heavier, so they brought Jerry Rome up. And Jerry was a good sparring partner with Jeff. And I got a chance to spar Jerry, and I learned a lot from that guy. That guy was phenomenal. He was really phenomenal, and it was a bad thing how it happened. You know, he was beating Ross Scott.
Oh, my God. The fight was over, outweighed by probably 40 pounds.
Yeah, I know, and it was terrible that the guy just eventually wore him down. But, you know, it was...
yeah, but that's not... It didn't happen with Brad Heston.
Yes. No.
That's one of the ugliest one-punch knockouts ever. While going backwards. Asa Gordon, rest in peace. You did a wonderful job, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
This is what I'm saying. That I'm a fan. All right, let me give you a quick overview. I never did the kickboxing because I found out that I could make more money doing a point than kickboxing.
Yes.
And I needed the money. I was fought at age 17.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a vocation. So to make $100, $200, $300, $400, sometimes $500 and $1,000, that was like getting paid. I mean, $335 an hour. I worked 40 hours. I come home with $108.
Yeah.
I go to a tournament, kick somebody to the head, and I can win $100 somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I used that as my vocation.
Yeah.
I
must say, you were smart because, you know, if kickboxing had the money that boxing had, you know, hell, I'd probably get my tennis shoes on and start training again right now. But the thing is that kickboxing never, ever offered the money that boxing offers, you know, and it was just that was the sad part about it. And, you know, even though these fights were covered,
if kickboxing had MMA money of today, people would be coming out of the woodworks when you're making 6 figures and 7 figures for doing something you do for free.
Yeah, exactly. Because we work on TV. I was on ESPN a couple times. I defended my title. They had these things on, but the thing was,
NBC, CBS,
they weren't paying us. There was no money.
What they were doing, and it's so crazy, just so you know, right? It would seem like the promoters were really making a lot of money. No, they were getting ripped off. You know why? Because they would make them buy airtime and sponsorship money wasn't coming to the promoter. It was going for the paying the staff and the lights and the camera, the action. It was almost like a test market that lasted for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it came down to, because I was the type of saying, yeah, man, those guys are making so much freaking money. The promoters are ripping off the fighters. No. Those guys barely made money themselves because it's embarrassing to say, but how about this? We're going to get a chance to see, I believe, when a martial artist gets paid properly for standing up and fighting. Mm-hmm. Right now, there's a thing happening. Victor Terrio, Johnny's brother, has a reality show / karate, kickboxing, where amateurs, not only are they fighting, but after they fight, they stand in front of what would be the masters, which are the coaches, like America's Got Talent. And the coaches give them advice if they could continue with a career or not. A modern-day twist to what would be kickboxing with a reality show base, which is what made UFC, not that same exact format, but what made UFC was the Ultimate Fight Challenge.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Fighter, as they call it.
Right.
So Johnny Sterio's brother, Victor, has 4 shows for television already. And Master Corley, Joe Corley, was up there 4 weeks ago. He'll be there the next week again as the color commentator. Wow. Whether you knew this or not, this is what's happening. Plus, I'm making apps for the PKA and a whole bunch of stuff. So we got. And for whatever it's worth, my clothing line founded in 1997, defunct in 2011, returned Christmas of 2015.
Wow.
So I'm even doing the PK uniforms, which I designed a few years back. So it's not over with. We're going to get a chance to at least be happy spectators.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario.
That's great.
So I'm part of that project.
Well,
God gave me the gift, sir.
With you being behind it, you're going to be very successful, I'm pretty sure.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Yeah. That may not be a popular statement to say in some areas. But I appreciate that, sir. Because I know that a lot of people always have some, they don't know if I'm serious. I've been honored and flabbergasted is probably the word, to know that like someone like yourself or if they know my name, I can't understand how or why, but you know, I'm their fan and they know my name. I think this is freaking cool.
Yeah. Well, as I said, you're very humble in your assessment of yourself because you've done quite a lot, not just what you're doing now, but I really didn't know anything about this until you contacted me for an interview. Mm-hmm. But what I did know and do know is that you were one of the top fighters that, you know, in recent times that I can, if somebody said, who is one of the top fastest, you know, sharpest fighters out there, and your name would be top of the list.
Wow. Well, again, I highly appreciate that. And it's a mutual agreement. I mean, we're not trying to be funny. You actually did knock out a guy at the Capitol Classics. I mean, there's people that in their entire career have never done one head kick. That's good. John Longstreet said how it was hard for him to throw a head kick. He couldn't do it. He would have to jump or something. Terry Newblum could do it. Nordblum, but he couldn't do it. And then you're in your 50s. Why aren't you fat and out of shape?
Man.
You know, why is Master Corley at 6 o'clock in the morning? I know where he's at tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday at 6 o'clock. I know where he's at. He's teaching. A.M., not P.M.
Yeah.
You know, and today he might have slacked off and taught at 7, worked out at 7 with doing Keith Vitale. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm saying in 2015.
Yeah.
You never seen Corley out of shape.
Yeah.
Leads by example. Same thing with you. I've never seen you out of shape either.
That's the thing.
Now, I've been out of shape since 1996 under what I believe. That was the last time I was in any shape. But I can still beat people because they don't know what the hell to do. It's not so much that I'm good. They just suck.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you guys? You crazy?
The fight game. And, you know, you got to be smart. And you've always been very smart in fighting. You know, as you said, you may not be in the best of shape, but you know how to win. That's what counts. Well,
just to be fair, you don't have to be in the best of shape to fight and point karate and win.
Yeah.
I'm more impressed by the person who does forms because you can't make believe you're doing forms. You can't be out of shape and do freaking forms. I get dizzy.
There's no question. And and besides, I think what you said earlier, lead by example. You know, I feel that if I'm going to try and inspire someone, motivate someone to be their best, I need to be my best. And, you know, I need to make sure when I step out on the mat, you know, that I'm in shape and I can do, you know, what I'm asking them to do. I think that's the worst thing. You're out there and, you know, you got a pop belly, you're out of shape, you know, 40, 50 pounds overweight, and you just, you know, yelling out commands as opposed to leading by example. And that's not me, and that's not something that I admire or respect. So if you're going to do it, you want to do it right. Keep yourself in shape. It's important.